Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Tonight, some teachers aren't happy about Governor Andrew Cuomo's latest recommendations. The governor wants school districts to require teachers to be vaccinated or be tested for COVID weekly. Big Fox's Matt Kleinden's Taz reaction tonight.
Good evening, Ann. With the start of the school year a little over a month away, Governor Cuomo hopes school districts will mandate the COVID vaccine for their staff. However, the largest state teachers union is pushing back. Students are set to return to school by September, and Governor Cuomo has his attention turned to vaccination rates among school staff.
I believe school districts should say today, teachers, vaccine or test if you are in a CDC high-risk area.
While he cannot enforce a vaccine mandate, Governor Cuomo hopes local school districts will require K-12 teachers to get vaccinated. Teachers who refuse the vaccine will be subject to weekly testing. In response to Cuomo's recommendation, the New York State United Teachers Union released a statement on Monday. The union says it's in favor of local efforts to encourage their members to get vaccinated. However, they do not support a vaccine mandate. I reached out to representatives of the union for comment. However, they were unavailable for an interview. It's unclear at this point whether or not local school districts will mandate the COVID vaccine for K-12 teachers. Matt Kleinden's Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
Vaccine passports are here, in the Big Apple anyway. New York City will now require vaccination proof for anyone heading to the gym, a restaurant, or an indoor entertainment venue. It comes as the Delta variant continues to ravage the unvaccinated. The former Surgeon General says the U.S. currently may be facing the worst surge of COVID-19 the nation has seen so far. Lucy Kavanaugh reports.
With COVID-19 cases going up, the Big Apple is doubling down on vaccinations.
If you're unvaccinated, unfortunately, you will not be able to participate in many things.
New Yorkers who want to dine indoors, dance at a nightclub, or work out at a gym will have to show proof of vaccination starting next month.
We're going to use every tool we've got to fight the Delta variant and to end the COVID era once and for all in this city. That means more and more vaccinations. And we know that strong, clear mandates help.
Momentum for a vaccine mandate seems to be growing.
It's time to impose some requirements based on the realities of different risks unvaccinated individuals pose versus those who have been vaccinated.
Meanwhile, businesses are putting in their own rules, with masks now back at major retailers and restaurant chains. Across the nation, cases are surging. With less than half of the population fully vaccinated, the U.S. is now averaging more than 85,000 new COVID-19 cases per day. Hospitalizations topping 50,000 for the first time since February.
The numbers started picking back up and the units opened back up and the respirators came back out. And it's like thinking you walked out of a war and being told you have to go back in.
Louisiana's governor says he's expecting the state to reach a pandemic record for hospitalizations today.
The most we've had in the hospital at any point in the pandemic. And yes, this is largely, but not exclusively, a surge among the unvaccinated.
1 in 3 cases nationwide occurred in Florida and Texas this past week.
The Sunshine State now the epicenter for the virus. But despite a surge in new cases and hospitalizations, Republican Governor Ron DeSantis is doubling down on his opposition to safety measures, including masks.
We're not shutting down. We're going to have schools open. We're protecting every Floridian's job in this state. We're protecting people's small businesses.
Wegmans is asking shoppers to start wearing masks again in their stores. The regional grocery chain says the rule will apply to all shoppers regardless of vaccination status, matching local health department and CDC guidelines. Wegmans had initially lifted their in-store mask mandates for vaccinated customers back in May. Could we have a fully FDA-approved vaccine against COVID-19 by the end of the summer? That's the hope. And as Britt Conway reports, medical experts say that could get us closer to a vaccine for kids, too.
It's full speed ahead to get full FDA approval for Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. And sources told the New York Times it could happen as soon as Labor Day. But time is working against them. Less than half of the population is fully vaccinated, and we're averaging more than 85,000 new cases a day. The hope is final approval will motivate more people to get vaccinated. It's also expected to prompt more vaccine mandates, and it could accelerate the approval process for vaccines for kids under 12.
When you have an EUA for the vaccine that then goes to a full approval, that might have an influence on what goes on. We're collecting the data right now for what we need to make that determination.
Until then, more children and teens are getting COVID. Nearly 72,000 got it between July 22nd and the 29th, a substantial increase from 39,000 cases the week before. A new study shows long-term symptoms are less common for children than adults, but kids can have persistent symptoms, or worse.
This variant is capable of causing serious illness in children.
And some experts worry even a quick FDA approval might come too late.
At the rate they're going, it might be a moot point by the time they actually get it licensed, because you could have variants generated that then now escape the vaccines.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
The United States once again ranked last overall in a healthcare analysis of high-income countries. The ranking was done by the Commonwealth Fund, which promotes better healthcare access and quality. The U.S. was last in 4 of 5 areas of healthcare: access, equity, outcomes, and administrative efficiency, but it was second place in care process. The group said the U.S. ranked last overall despite spending a far greater share of its economy on healthcare. It is the only one of the 11 nations surveyed not to have universal health insurance coverage. Americans behind in their rent will get a reprieve. The CDC announced a new eviction ban extension that will last until October. The decision came following calls from progressive Democrats demanding the Biden administration take action. There are now questions about how the Supreme Court will respond after it ruled a change in policy could only happen through legislation. Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
This was the reaction on the Capitol steps when news of a new federal eviction moratorium reached activists, including Congresswoman Cori Bush. The Missouri Democrat spent 3 nights sleeping on the steps to protest the old ban that ran out on Saturday. Today, she said, the work isn't over.
I am just happy that people right now are not fearful that they'll end up with that eviction notice on their doors and that we have bought some time.
The new ban on evictions lasts until October 3rd. The CDC issued it for counties with substantial and high levels of community transmission of COVID-19. About 90% of Americans now live in those areas. The center reports that mass evictions could increase the likelihood of new spikes in COVID cases. Republicans point out that the moratorium may be great for renters, but it is crushing some landlords.
We've had enhanced unemployment benefits now for 1.5 years. And these landlords, which for some of these landlords, this is their only income. What about them? And what about the fairness that they deserve?
Both sides want states to speed up dispersal of the federal relief money to renters. Only a small percentage of the $46 billion has been given out so far.
I don't think that that's the fault of the moratorium. That's a fault of something wrong with the system.
President Biden said he expects the moratorium to be challenged in court, but while it's being litigated, states will have time to push that money out to Americans behind in their rent. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
The Schuyler County Sheriff's Office releasing a travel advisory ahead of the NASCAR race at Watkins Glen. To accommodate for race day traffic on Sunday, County Route 16 will be used for one-way only, with 3 lanes of traffic from State Route 414 to the Speedway. Cool Winter Way and Bronson Hill Road will also be one-way, only leading to the track. Those changes will take place starting at 6 a.m. through 3 p.m. and then again around 5:30. Sheriff patrols will be in the area to address any problems. Discount carrier Spirit Airlines is struggling to rebound from days of cancellations. 61% of flights were canceled yesterday, and nearly half were canceled today. Earlier this week, it was around 30%. Spirit is calling it a perfect storm. Bad weather, staffing shortages, and system outages hitting all at once during the peak of summer travel season. Passengers say there is no excuse for the late notifications they're receiving. They say they're showing up at airports and then finding out their flights have been canceled. The latest jobs report from private companies did not match economists' expectations. According to the Automatic Data Processing Employment Report, 330,000 private sector jobs were added to the economy last month, but economists expected to see 695,000 additional jobs on the private side. The services sector, led by leisure and hospitality, beat other companies in the amount of positions added. Experts say the disappointing numbers do not bode well for Friday's government jobs report. Still ahead tonight, some college students spending lots of cash to get around school vaccine requirements.
It is really disturbing the lengths that some students are willing to go to subvert the university requirement.
Hear how much some are paying to get their hands on fake vaccination cards and just how easy it may be.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good.
And a good Wednesday evening, everyone. We've been seeing temperatures pretty nice across much of the Twin Tiers area. Corning and Elmira have been seeing temperatures at or even slightly below normal here the last several days. Definitely want to take advantage of these nice conditions. Even overnight lows tonight will drop back into the low to mid 50s. It will be mostly sunny as we start the day then on Thursday. Again, dry weather continues with our west or southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. So after starting out in the low to mid 50s, looks like temperatures rise back to the upper 70s and low 80s. Temperatures really typical for this time in August. We'll see a mixture of clouds and sun. May see a little more cloud cover than sunshine, but again, looking like a pretty nice day, really a nice August afternoon here as we head into your Thursday and Thursday afternoon. And looks like temperatures will start to get a little bit warmer though as we get ready for the end of the work week and probably into the upcoming weekend as well. So we can think that high pressure up to our north there, that high pressure is really really bringing in the nice weather, the very pleasant and very warm conditions we're seeing here as you get into your Thursday. Again, a mixture of clouds and sun expected. Some of those clouds coming from an area of low pressure area that's down to our south and off to our west through West Virginia, even parts of Pennsylvania. Seeing a little bit of rain kind of popping up through that area. That will try to edge its way a little further to the north then by Friday and into the upcoming weekend, kind of kick that high pressure area out of here. And as it happens, then we may increase our chances of scattered showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms as we get into the weekend as well. Probably going to also increase our temperatures a little bit as we get into the weekend, with highs eventually approaching maybe lower mid 80s in many areas. So let's take a look at our future radar, again showing temperatures are going to stay overnight tonight looking pretty good with mainly clear skies. We'll call it clear to partly cloudy skies. Some clouds trying to build in here as we head into early tomorrow morning. Here is 8 o'clock on your Thursday. Again, looking like mainly dry conditions, just a few clouds passing by from time to time. Now, future radar is trying to pick up on just a few showers, maybe up around the Bath area, maybe Hornell area. We could see a couple pop-up showers. I think a lot of us will most likely stay pretty dry, though, here as we head through the day. But again, that future radar kind of picks up on a few of those isolated showers to our north and to our west Thursday afternoon. Again, a little bit warmer weather for your Friday, but again, temperature-wise, will probably be at or maybe slightly above normal as we head to your Friday afternoon. See those clouds increasing Friday afternoon? That's, again, the chance of some showers increasing for Saturday. So here it is Saturday afternoon, 5 o'clock. We're seeing a chance of scattered showers kind of increasing once again across parts of the Twin Tiers. Now for tonight, partly cloudy skies. Really not too bad out there. Lower mid-50s, 53 around Bath and Corning, 53 degrees the overnight low here in Elmira, 53 degrees in Towanda and Watkins Glen at 57. Here's your 7-day forecast in low to mid-80s the next couple of days. And then those rain chances start to ramp up this weekend with mid-80s for both Saturday and Sunday. Actually, warmer weather next week. How about upper 80s to near 90? But more isolated rain chances arriving too as we head to the early part of our next work week. All right, stay with us. More news when we come back.
Each year, nearly 18,000 Americans are diagnosed with life-threatening illnesses that could be treated with bone marrow or blood cell transplants. But the patient's chances of finding a donor vary depending on ethnicity. Mandy Gaither explains in today's Health Minute.
He's just 4 years old, but Aiden Paredes is fighting for his life.
Aiden was diagnosed with ALL B-cell leukemia,
in February and we don't have a match.
Because of his aggressive form of blood cancer, Aiden is in need of bone marrow, but only about 30% of patients can find a fully matched donor in their family. Be the Match is a national marrow registry that links patients with potential donors.
Many times this is their last option, and a patient cannot find a cure without a transplant.
The chances of finding a donor vary based on ethnicity. Of the 22 million people on the Be the Match registry, 79% are white, 48% are Hispanic or Latino. It's even lower for certain other ethnic groups.
You're most likely to match somebody who shares your ethnicity. So for individuals who are of Black, Hispanic, or Asian ethnicity, they're going to have a harder time finding a match.
He just wants to be that normal kid that can run without getting exhausted. Just to be a 4-year-old.
That's why Be the Match and Aiden's parents are pushing for more diverse marrow donors who could literally save a life.
If it's not for Aiden, it could be for anybody else.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Some college students are willing to pay a lot of money to get their hands on vaccination cards. These cards, of course, prove that a person had the COVID-19 vaccine, but students are using the fake vaccine cards to get around campus requirements that they either get the shot or submit to regular testing. Laura Levine has more.
Up to $200. That's how much I'm told students are willing to pay to get their hands on one of these. Now, the university is only encouraging students to submit their vaccination status, yet some are still trying to get around it. A UNC professor sounded the alarm on Twitter with this post. He says he spoke with worried UNC students who knew how to buy a fake COVID-19 vaccine card and knew of others who submitted one to the university.
It is really disturbing the lengths that some students are willing to go to subvert the university requirements.
Simon Palmore has heard of many of his fellow classmates deciding to buy vaccine cards to send to the university.
And these students are going to be able to subvert the regular testing while also not being protected from the virus.
UNC rolled out this verification form, encouraging those vaccinated to verify their status.
Me, the type of people who would fake a vaccine card are the type of people who, might go to parties and get COVID. So absolutely, that's the group that I think should be tested weekly.
I'm told it's as easy as getting a fake ID. Online vendors have made blank cards more accessible.
I'm in the healthcare world, and I'm like, that's just absolutely horrible. We're on an educated college campus in one of the most educated places in the world, and it should be like, how can you be faking a vaccine when we have people to care about? So
I brought this issue to officials at the Orange County Health Department.
If anybody is out there trying to get around the testing requirement, that's really something that should be dealt with severely by any university.
With the surge of the Delta variant and the fall semester just 2 weeks away, some hope UNC will crack down a little harder.
So I think if there was a vaccine requirement, the university would be forced to look more closely at these vaccination cards and verify that they're in fact legitimate.
Now, the university sent me a statement late this afternoon responding to this issue, saying providing false information about a vaccination status is a violation of the university honor code violations and may result in disciplinary action such as suspension from the university.
Millions of dollars of student debt gone. Thousands of students with debt from their time as students at historically Black colleges and universities are getting major assistance. Daryl Forges explains.
Carrington Wiggum is a rising senior at Florida A&M University. She's also the student body president and has big dreams after college.
So I know I want to end up in the political arena or the entertainment arena.
The rising senior had an unpaid balance of $8,000 she needed to clear before registering for classes, when suddenly her balance was wiped out.
When I saw that there was nothing in my account, especially being an out-of-state student, I was like, I'm not going to even put a question mark where God put a period.
Wiggum wasn't alone. It happened to thousands of students on campuses like hers around the country.
You should know that for the last year and a half, this institution has provided more than $16 million in student support and direct debt relief.
FAMU is among at least 20 HBCUs that paid off a combined total of more than $25 million in student debt in the last 3 months. That's thanks to the funding from the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund, which is also part of the CARES Act.
I've received calls and texts and emails from students who otherwise would not be able to return to school in the fall.
A 2016 study by the Association of Public and Land-Grant Universities found about 78% of bachelor's degrees recipients graduate with less than $30,000 in debt. HBCU officials say forgiving debt, especially for these students of color, is crucial.
These students have less debt, which means their credit score is going to be better, which means their opportunity to purchase homes, to purchase cars, to purchase other items.
For Wiggum, her family works hard to put her and her brother through college, and this help will go a long way.
I feel like I just have to continue the torch to make sure that their endorsement essentially goes to great use.
I'm Daryl Forges reporting.
CVS is raising its minimum wage to $15 an hour. The pharmacy giant says it will begin increasing wages for hourly employees this month and hit the $15 mark by next July. About 65% of CVS's hourly employees already make more than $15 an hour. Those who do, like pharmacy technicians and call center representatives, will also be seeing a wage increase. CVS employs nearly 300,000 people. Several companies like Amazon, Target, and Best Buy have also recently moved to a $15 an hour starting wage. A new homeowner in Wisconsin is on the hunt to find an Army veteran. The homeowner was renovating the house when he discovered a decades-old piece of military memorabilia that he now wants to return. Emily Mastesic reports.
Shane Gomez and his girlfriend recently bought this house at 357 Sherman Street in Fond du Lac. The couple spending their free time working on home renovation projects. It was this past weekend when they were working on the upstairs that they discovered a little piece of history.
My girlfriend was messing with the cabinets down there, and I guess no one had ever really bothered to look down there, and we found an old record.
Tucked underneath the bottom drawer of a built-in hall cabinet was a military certificate.
You can see where the dust was right there.
Issued to James C. Bostwick on October 1st of 1959. The Honorable Discharge Certificate says he enlisted in the Army in September of 1951, entering the reserves less than 2 years later.
My late grandpa is he was a veteran when, back then. I figured it kind of spoke to me. I'm like, well, I'm sure somebody's grandpa was James Bostwick, and maybe they would like to have it as a token or a memento or some kind of heirloom of sorts.
Gomez posted about the certificate on a Fond du Lac community Facebook page, hoping to find someone who knows this soldier.
It'll be pretty, surprising. I saw a lot of Bostwicks, tagging them, each other in the name in the comments. So if I manage to find who it belongs to, that'd be impressive.
Until then, he'll just keep the certificate for safekeeping and maybe do a little research on its recipient after he finishes the home projects.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. Mattel has unveiled 6 new Barbie dolls to honor individuals leading the fight against COVID-19. These one-of-a-kind dolls feature the likeness of doctors and nurses from around the world who have made scientific and medical breakthroughs over the last year and a half. The Barbie dolls are part of Mattel's Thank You Heroes program. The company also announced it was donating $5 for each doctor, nurse, and paramedic Barbie doll sold at Target. The money will be donated to the First Responders Children's Foundation. Way to go. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good night, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.